This is a quick little update video. As you know, I change my mind all the time. I stopped doing things that I said I was going to do and nothing. Let me catch you up. So, a lot of you have been really sad because I said I was going to stop doing the Code Mage book. And here's the thing, I've always wanted to do the Code Mage book, and the Terminal Velocity book actually unlocked the Code Mage book again. Let me explain why. So the reason my vision for the Code Mage book always was a book with really pretty illustrations that was designed for somebody as young as 10, even 9, depending on if they can read and how young they are. And it's going to be ridiculously simple and small. It's going to be mostly pretty pictures, but it's going to teach the fundamentals of computer science and practical programming with Go as a first language. But it's going to be ridiculously simple, and it's not going to have Go routines in there other than in a very, very, very simple. I don't even know if I can get them in there. So concurrency is a basic thing of computer science. Can I teach it to a 10-year-old? I think I probably can, and we think it probably will be in the form of like wandering monsters. That's what we actually did in our game, and then we hit a problem as we couldn't teach wandering monsters without concurrency because you need a loop running all the time. That's like deciding whether a wandering monster comes in or you get eaten by a grue or stuff. So the Code Mage book is coming back, and it will be back. But when it comes back, as of this moment, it's going to be only Go. It's not going to cover anything about the terminal at all. It'll have maybe one page of here's some methods for editing that you can go look at. And one of them will be a link to what I'm working on right now, which is the Terminal Velocity book. So the Terminal Velocity book boosts your coding, hacking, and learning to the fastest human computer interface speeds. And that has been, quite frankly, overwhelmingly the most requested thing on all of my live streams. Everybody wants to get, I mean, really good with the terminal. This includes Go programming, and that confuses some people. It confused me at first because I was like, okay, I want to teach people how to program Go on the terminal. And then I started realizing you can't really do that until they hit about 13 or so. I mean, you can, but yeah, I have done it. I've done it with the 9-year-old, but you know, and some things changed in the Terminal Velocity book. You see the ages here. This is all rendered, by the way, on rdvxrob.github.io/books. If you go out there, you can go see the latest anytime. Um, and so, here you go. Here's a fancier version of it. Um, and it looks like I haven't committed it with I moved the ages up over here. Let me show you. So I haven't. Looks like I think. Let me just go get it back here. So yeah, here we go. I haven't committed it yet. So here, this is the new version that you'll see. So again, the Code Mage book is designed for 10 and up, which frees me up to do only like really rudimentary things. And I seriously, it's probably only going to be maybe 50 pages of really, really pretty text. And it's going to have like really, really simple examples in big old font with lots of color, so that we can do that. Hey, Bobby. So that is still on the table. So if those of you who have been saddened that I'm not covering beginning programming, just know that I'm still doing it. I need to get to the other stuff first. I did spend some time organizing the books in the order of age, and this was a real revelation to me. The whole entire time I have been flustered by the fact that I have been writing for different age groups with different access. It's so funny. On Silicon Valley yesterday, my wife and I were rewatching the series, and they had the episode where the Dinesh is the new CEO, and he releases this really awesome video platform with no terms of service, and he ends up almost paying $26 billion for COPA violation, Child Online Protection Act. He ends up getting out of it by selling it to Gavin Belson and forcing him to swallow the pill. I don't want to make a book that's in violation of the Child Online Protection Agreement, but that encourages people to do that. And when I was doing the first Code Mage book, I ran into that problem about in the middle of it because at the time I had a hard line requirement for GitHub, and GitHub you have to be 13 or older, just like any online service, and that tanked my organization because yeah. So the problem with that is that first of all, as soon as I started saying, okay, I decided to change it by making this kitty book with illustrations and childish language, childlike. How about that? To be for 13-year-olds, and then I started realizing 13-year-olds aren't going to put up with this, baby stuff, this stuff talking to about Harry Potter and all of that. They're not going. That's not going to appeal to them. That appeals to somebody who's still playing Minecraft and Roblox. Honestly, I know that's. I don't mean to insult young people, but I've been around them long enough to know they have a certain tolerance for certain things. About the same time they stop watching cartoons and start watching things that have real people in them. And I actually did a whole bit of research this last 2 weeks ago, actually, about ages and stuff. Anyway, so now that I know that the Codemates first spell book is going to just be install VS Code, have your mom or dad help you install VS Code, have your mom or dad help you set up your terminal if you're older, if you're reading this, and then it's just gonna be Go code only. It's just gonna be Go code. It's gonna be Go code and lots of pictures. And it's gonna not make any assumptions about your environment. It's like you need to get your environment up. Okay, now go compile it and run it. And we'll cover how to compile and run, which has to be done from the command line. You cannot do that without that. But that book will probably be taught using VS Code. And the reason for that is because an absolute beginner, like an absolute total beginner, that's what they're going to have. That's what the school is going to give them. They're not going to have something beside. The other thing that's really great about VS Code is it's so easy to play with the colors. I've noticed this with really young people. They'll start at VS Code and they'll change their colors. They'll have like 10 different themes, so they can pick their own theme and play with it and everything. They don't have to learn how to configure WesTerm and all that jazz. There's no WesTerm at all. Period. There's no to use the terminal that's built into VS Code. So the Codemates first spellbook is going to use a graphical editor. It's going to be if you want to use the terminal, you can, but the assumption is that you're using VS Code, and then you guys can trash on me for recommending VS Code to Microsoft. I don't care. We're not even going to do VS Code because the school districts that are going to adopt it are going to be using VS Code. VS Code is not as safe as VS Code. I'm going to stand by that. VS Code, a lot of people don't know Chromium. Chromium had a really serious security flaw in it for a year because nobody saw it, because all the attention was on Chrome itself. So I still think Chrome is a better web browser than Chromium. You can fight me on that. I don't care. That's the way we're going. So that's what's going on. Autodidactic is actually really, really important that I finish this one too. So I've decided this to be 12 and up. This is after you are using the techniques to learn and process critical information thinking. We're going to teach you, things like Bloom's taxonomy, how to learn, all of that, how to take notes. We'll start by taking notes just showing you how you can take notes on a USB stick and everything. We're not going to have any GitHub in there yet. I've thought about maybe making Autodidactic into a 13 and up, and it might still be. Because as soon as you're 13, you can put GitHub in there. The other thing that's really great about that with VS Code is that you just click on a button and it automatically syncs to GitHub. So there's going to be people in here that are going to yell at me. They're the Terminalocity people. Like, why are you doing that? Because they're young. They're just starting out. And yes, it's true they can learn the terminal, but a lot of the teachers don't know the terminal. They're going to be using the book and the parents. So they're going to have a much easier deal of it, introducing it. And when they get to terminal velocity, which is the big one, this is probably my biggest book. This has got the coding, hacking, learning, and this is everything. And so actually some really cool things about this that I want to introduce that I didn't make a video about this yet, but I'm going to. So there's the regular introduction. And I'm actually going to go through this in the holiday boost a little bit later, but so it has the whole Hacker's Way thing. So this is a book that's written for 13-year-olds that's designed for people who can have GitHub and GitHub access, even though we're not going to rely on GitHub at first. We're going to teach you how to do it. If you want to be a hacker and don't want to have anybody know what you're doing, we're going to show you how to do that, how to manage it all on your own. So find a mentor, all this other stuff. So, but this is the big one. This is, targeted at people who are, interested in hacking, usually about 13. And then, okay, so this entire section is new. I didn't do a video on this yet, but this is really big deal. This is actually, I need to write a book about this discovery, or at least a booklet. So the code is your documentation. So one of the things that I've been struggling with on all of this is how to organize all the complexity of learning, what to learn, when to learn it, if you need to learn it, how do you learn it, how do we maintain that level of customization and flexibility without losing you? And the answer is, the same thing as code, like write a script. So execute this. So this isn't done at all. I've been in the middle of doing this all week. This is your code. This is the code. This is a flow chart. Code is just a flow chart. In fact, I really am looking forward to making a tool that actually parses Bash. Is what this is. Like, why Bash? Well, because Bash is readable. Python is readable, but it's also screwed up because it has white space indentation, and that's not implied. People won't. It's just much harder to grok as an absolute beginner. It's easier to write literate programming kind of things using Bash than anything else because it's the highest level language you're ever going to use. Way higher than Python. So we're going to write I write the script of what you need to do next in Bash. This is up right now. You can actually go look at this. So last time we did a thing about, well, what are you going to learn next? How do you learn it? And this is ever evolving, but this is, check that you have the prerequisites, set up your terminal workstation, use the basic terminal commands. This stuff down here needs to change. The Perl stuff needs to be consolidated. Start using basic terminal, use the web from the terminal, connect with others and terminal lovers. That's through IRC or whatever. Anyway, so each one of these steps is broken down just like code into its own thing. Start using Perl from the CLI. That's the one I've added. By the way, we definitely need to learn Perl. In fact, by organizing my thoughts this way, I realized that one of the core tools that I use with Vim all the time is Perl, command line Perl. So we're going to do it. And I'm going to justify that statement. There's going to be people that are going to trash on this because I said you need to learn Perl in 2024. If you're not learning Perl in 2024, you're an idiot. If you think sed and awk is going to cover what Perl can cover, you really don't know what you're talking about at all. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to justify that conclusion, so stay tuned. There's some things you can do with Perl that I just did today, actually, while I was writing the book, that awk would just, no, it's just not happening. Plus, it's like basic regex. Anyway, I don't want to justify that. There's a lot of stuff here. And now this is when I realized, because, this continues to break down all the steps. Break down the steps, set up was term, do this, and blah, blah, blah. So this is how the Terminal Velocity book is taking form. It's actually the first book that I'm going to write where at least one section of the book is going to be code. It's going to be a flow chart. And it's going to be go do this and then go do this, which is really interesting because I've actually been using the Bash interpreter to catch my mistakes. So the Bash interpreter catches my logic flow mistakes. It catches like this was not called. It's super great for like writing flows. And I've already had one other educator say that they are going to steal this and start doing that to break down their own curriculum, the flow of their curriculum. So I'm super excited about that. I think it needs to be written. Okay, a couple other books here. Home Lab Init. I am going to do this. I don't know how much of this I'm going to do. When I work on a thing, I document it and I put it in here, like how to set up my Proxmox, which I need to reset up, by the way, before we get too much farther along. I did start another book, Golang Gotchas, and I got this. I started this book because of this gotcha. So this is a Golang Gotcha, very simple thing, but don't do this. Don't pass the string. It's a very humble thing. You're like, why would you not pass? I'm passing the string at first, and the string should go after that. So as like, this is why you don't, because it makes it incompatible with Golang templates. This is very, 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 very low level esoteric Golang kind of stuff, but it will prevent you a lot of pain and heartache. And it's a collection of things as they happen to me that have happened to me over time. So that's what that's about. The Bad Stream and No Biscuit, shut the fuck up, and they're never gonna. These are all adult books. These are over 18, and actually that's one of the reasons I put the age on here, because I realized that as a public persona, I need to kind of compartmentalize, and I should at least put age appropriate stuff here. A lot of you don't know that my YouTube, I try to be age appropriate. My live streams very clearly are never age appropriate. They are, adult. because I am speaking like an adult in a way. My holiday boost videos and stuff like this generally are rated PG, so 13 and over. Okay, so yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort into this. My wife and I had a talk, and I'll just wrap up with this. My wife and I had a talk over coffee this morning, and we were just realizing how many things in the world that people might be capable of doing, but they don't do it. Um, and you know, there are the people who are capable and don't do it for because of life or whatever, and then there are people who are just not capable of making, five 300-page books or whatever, or even one 300-page book, and they just don't have it in them to go all the way to the end of it. And I definitely do, but I am not going to do it. Again, I was emboldened by Guilfoyle on Silicon Valley, who says, I don't put crap out. They're trying to work on the box, and he ends up making his algorithm too fast because he can't. He just refuses to do, bad stuff. And that goes for me. And my problem is the reason I don't finish stuff is because it takes me so long to do thing. One other thing, I wanted you to notice that I started adding descriptions to my videos, and they're 100% AI generated. It's absolutely amazing. Everybody has suggested to me that I get an adult to help me or something, and I'm gonna make a video just about that. So the way you do it is you download use YouTube DL to get the transcript, and then you send the transcript to your AI, and then the AI summarizes it. And I asked her to put it in first person as if I was talking, and then she put chapter headings in the description automatically based on the change in tone and the change in topic in the video by itself. And it took me all of 5 minutes to go through an entire 6-hour video, provide a summarized description with chapter markers. People, I want to keep saying this because I would be remiss if I had any video on YouTube that didn't mention how important it is that you start leveraging AI in your life today. And I'm not just talking about coding. I'm talking about anything and everything. If you don't do it, you're going to get left behind. And I'll end on that.